Hello and welcome to Venture Cafe Presents. I'm Christine Dunn here at the Roxbury Innovation Center, and joining me is Sherry Lassiter, who runs MIT's Global Fab Lab, and she is the president of the Fab Foundation. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about why you wanted to be part of this Fab Lab. I'm going to call it a movement just because it really seems to be catching on, and how you see it fitting in a group like the Roxbury Innovation Center.
Well, I got involved because, actually, can I think about this for a minute? Sorry.
Don't worry, we can cut. It's okay.
Let me just think for a second how to pose that. Oh, okay. So I came from television. I was a producer, writer, director for documentaries, science documentaries, and I decided I was tired of telling the story, so I wanted to kind of become part of the story, and that's when I moved to MIT and found this project called Fab Labs, and it was very early movement. In fact, when you think about the maker movement, you've heard a lot probably about the maker movement. The maker movement and the Fab Lab movement started at the same time. First Make magazine had Fab Labs featured in it. So what I saw was this wonderful kernel of an idea that I thought, you know, this is going to be great. This is going to impact so many people in the world, both from an education perspective, an innovation perspective, the ability for people to take control of technology in their lives. And so I jumped onto the bandwagon and helped to build this network, which is now over 1,000 labs in 80 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
and
just
how long have you been doing this? How did you build?
It's been about 15 years.
Oh, a long time.
And we started out with a National Science Foundation grant that allowed us to it was a big grant for research, but the outreach proportion allowed us to put the first 12 Fab Labs in the world. And since then, all the Fab Labs in the world have come up with their own funding, in their own communities of their own design. And that's what I think is really exciting, because it's by, for, and of the people, so to speak.
So what are some of the guiding principles that you hope each of these Fab Labs will follow so that they carry through that mission that you have?
One thing is there are sort of four basic concepts that you have to follow, or four things that you sort of have to buy into. One is that you don't do it in isolation. You collaborate and you share knowledge with others in the world, others in the network, others in the world, that you share the same tools and processes, the same basic capabilities with people all over the world. It's through that we've built this network, this sort of accidental global infrastructure for prototyping and fabrication for the arts and innovation and education, and that you subscribe to sort of our charter, which says, I will do no harm, I will share knowledge, I can protect my intellectual property, but at some point I want to pay back to my community, those sorts of principles. And so, if you're guided by, or buy into those 3 or 4 concepts, then we would accept you as a part of the network, because that's very important to us. We're about democratizing access to the tools for invention, and so that's very, very important.
So how do you keep it, because technology is changing all the time, how do you keep it relevant in an industry that is very fast-paced and every 3 months is something new?
Well, we're very fortunate in that we come out of MIT's research into digital fabrication and into the marriage of computer science and physical science. So the research organization is constantly innovating, constantly pushing the boundaries, and then what happens is that knowledge gets disseminated out into the network and adopted by the network. And in fact, what we're starting to see globally is that there are global sort of applied research collaborations and business opportunities that are growing out of this kind of dissemination into the network.
I see. Now, for the Roxbury Innovation Center in particular, what are your hopes for the Fab Lab here?
Well, what we see in other parts of the world, and I think this is really a beautiful place for this, is multiple impact. One is, of course, in the entrepreneurial community. So you give people access to the tools, you help them learn how to prototype and make their own designs, and then in a place like the Innovation Center, you can begin to find network and find the funding, et cetera, that you would need to actually start a business. So we really feel like the Roxbury Innovation Center is going to be a beautiful place for new and young entrepreneurs to find new business opportunities, or to create new business opportunities and new economic opportunity for the community. And then of course education, empowering young people, because we're right here next to the Boston Public Schools. You know, we're hoping that we can pull in that community, the young students, and empower them not only for personal expression, but to take control of take control of the technology in their life, and take control of the technology development in their life. So empower them to control and navigate their own technology.
Well, and it's interesting to me because you keep kind of repeating that phrase, to take control, but what I'm also hearing is just that control comes from comfort level, just being around it and being exposed to it and being taught to just be with it. So what a wonderful experience.
Well, that's what we hope. We hope that they will become, young people will become very comfortable with it. I mean, in fact, if you think about it, these are 21st century skills. I mean, now you have to know, you have to know how to present yourself online. You have to know how to collaborate across, many different languages and cultures and countries. You have to know how to document. You have to know a little bit of everything. We're kind of going back to this Renaissance model where you have to know a little bit of a lot of things in order to survive the 21st century workforce.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, but I also really feel that Fab Labs are not necessarily going to, I mean, workforce is very important, but really what we're doing is we're creating leaders and technology innovators. That's a little bit different than workforce. So, very exciting.
Yeah, by educating them about it, you're empowering them to take a leadership position.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, Sherry, nice job. That's great.
Thank you. What
Thank
a pleasure.
you for joining
What fun
me.
to be here.
Well, we appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
For the Venture Cafe Presents, I'm Christine Dunn.